Yes.
Showing up over there, it's supposed to show up over there.
You're on TV.
All right.
That's right. Good evening, afternoon. This is the January 8th, 2026 Cemetery Trustee meeting. All members are present and the superintendent is present. Caleb, our alternate, he just texted me saying he's just going to be a little bit late because we actually started at 4 o'clock today. So, but Caleb will be here shortly. First item says to sign deeds. And I have in front of me the electric bill, so we're signing the electric bill. Was there any deeds?
There
Trace?
are no deeds.
Okay,
I do want to say that I did all the accounting. So every time that we sell a lot, money goes to different places, but it ends up in our general cemetery maintenance fund. It's basically transferred from the town to the trustees of trust to the free bearing. All of it is done, all of it is accounted for. Julian and I have successfully mastered this. So anytime a lot is sold, that money is transferred and it's all done. We are up to date for this year. Yeah, it's like I have like all the supporting documents, I've checked everything twice and everything that's supposed to. So we sold 16 lots this year for a total income of $6,400.
okay.
It's party.
So 16 lots this year.
16 lots.
And I think when we did the average, we were averaging about 9. So this was a heavy year then.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because one family bought 8. Most of them are all singles beyond that, but even so, some of them were added onto already existing lots.
Okay.
If anybody wants to know the amount that's in that capital reserve fund right now, as of right now, for the general cemetery maintenance fund, we can expend both the principal and the income. There's $20,000, a little bit more than that, in the general cemetery maintenance fund,
Okay.
which is our capital reserve fund.
Thank you. Looks like review current budget, and we have encumbrances, and honest, I don't know where we're at on encumbrances. And
It's up to you.
yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't think it's really necessary for the minutes. I mean, you could let me know, but because all we had said was if we could encumber any of the excess funds, we could apply it toward the PO on the survey. I mean, that was the reason why we're going to encumber it. We have the PO. It's not a lot of money. The select board already said they would pay it. So, I mean, again, and again, I don't know where we're at the town-wise. I don't know where the town administrator's at with encumbrances. Like, have they specifically asked departments for them to submit them, or yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
We're between systems, accounting systems, so that's where the struggle's coming with
Right.
getting reports.
Maybe we'll just take it that you and I will we'll try to see whatever the latest. We will look at the total expenditures year to date, what we have left. Make sure that we have enough that we're not going to get caught short-handed. But we'll just submit to the town administrator to say let's encumber the remaining funds towards that PO, and I have a copy of the PO that we can give her.
Because I think all my invoices are in, pays rolled for next year, so yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. So if they're all in,
yeah,
then
on my end, we are.
then all we need is really to make sure that all the transactions have gone through, which they probably should have. But
So everything's there. The only issue is I was using the old payroll system, so I have to transfer that information to the new accounting information or system. And I just haven't got that far yet.
Okay.
So, but
Okay.
hopefully even tomorrow or beginning of next
All right.
week.
Well, what, if you need something from me, let me, because I think you have a copy of the PO. We all had
I
that
believe
last
so, yeah.
meeting. And I think all we have to do is give that, I think it's the only document that she would need to encumber this,
Okay.
whatever money
Yeah.
we have. And I know we won't have enough to cover the whole thing, but we can encumber whatever we have towards it, and then the select board can pay the rest. Awesome. So I'm just saying that, Jillian, you'll get that done. Okay. Perpetual care.
So once again, we are good to go with perpetual care. Everything is up to date. Our perpetual care for this year on our MS9s, which will be on the town report, are going to reflect, I think it's going to be the mowing of last year, the mowing of this year, and our flower accounts. And it all is there. It's all good. I know perpetual care for this year for just the mowing, I think it's like 2,600 that will be reimbursed from perpetual care back to the town. So we're in really good straits.
The 2,600 was for 2025.
I do believe the 2,600 would be for the 2025 mowing, and I think that might be just mowing. I'd have to look at the actual
okay. That's-
sheets, but at least we know.
Right. And the 24, again,
So the
the reason
mowing-
why the 24 is there is because it was in December and it just didn't make it in
Right.
time, right? So
Yep.
it was a timing thing.
And the state has said as long as we report it,
Yeah.
it can go to the next year, but
Yeah.
if we can get it all in the same
Yep.
year,
Yep.
kudos to
Cool.
us. They're not
Yep.
worried about it.
Right. Okay.
I will let you know as far as Cypress stuff. The ending balance for Tonry Cemetery for perpetual care income after all our expenses, $112,000. It's 112,236.28. I've been in touch with the state again, and that's going to be my winter work, is to try and get that rolling, because we've got really good records and things are starting to go our way. We know what we're doing.
Okay. Next is the December, it says 1st, but it should be December 11th. Meeting minutes. I had, in your packet, I gave you the copies of those. And again, apologize, they're a little bit brief because we didn't have the YouTube thing working, the video working last time. So I had to go by my notes, and you realize you need to do a better job of notes. Oh, Happy New Year, Caleb.
Time to get up.
We're just reviewing the meeting minutes for December 11th.
Now, when the town declared it abandoned, the Popper Cemetery, does that imply or require that it's now an official town cemetery? Because abandoned means, you know, it's abandoned and.
The town has assumed responsibility
So the
for it.
town-
Yep,
because
yep,
it-
and I think that's in the
Yeah,
abandonment
and
clause.
I
and the
did
whole-
check with NHMA, and they did say, once the cemetery is declared abandoned, it becomes the property and responsibility of the town of Brentwood. So when the select board voted, whatever that date was, February 25th or whatever of last year, yeah, it became a town cemetery. So you good with the minutes, Skip?
Vote to accept. This should be URN, the interments
Where is it?
spelling on the chart at the bottom.
Oh, I didn't get to that yet.
Oh, sorry.
I was just looking at the minutes. We'll get to that, though. Yeah,
Oh, this, yeah, okay. Sorry.
no, it's okay. So motion, Skip, second, Jillian, to accept the meeting, December 11th meeting minutes as printed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And no, anyone opposed or abstain? No. So that's done. Thank you. I will remove the draft and update the website. Draft web. Next is under cemetery activity, buyback of lots. And I know Joyce, you had sent an email just today on that.
Yeah, sorry, this kind of came together really quick. So the LeBrew family, way back in the day, 1998, 2001, bought 4 lots. They only need to use 2. We had talked about this in an earlier meeting. I have tons of paperwork, supporting documents. I get letters from everybody in the family, so we're good to go as far as I'm concerned. I can show those to you if you want. But basically, I drafted, based on an older buyback deed, a draft of the deed for them to buy back. So at the time, they bought the 4 lots for $13.60. Divide that by 4, it means each lot was $340. They're selling back 2. If my math is right, that means that we would be buying them back for $680. And I can send this around. It's just, I actually talked to the lady today, and she's like, my middle name isn't Joan. It's not your fault they wrote it wrong. It's Jean. So there's that correction. Feel free to mark on that or whatever, but it is based on a deed that we've done twice already. I just filled in the blanks and changed a few things. And if it looks good, I think what I'll do is I'll let her know. She can print it from her end, she'll sign it, notarize it, send it back to me. And Jim and I had talked about, I think it will be just if the town can pay for it and then reimbursed from the General Cemetery Maintenance Fund. But I can check with, we can check in with Jilly about that. Yep.
Yeah. Again, I assume that's how it has to be because we don't, I think I told Joyce, we don't have a checking account.
Yep.
I can't, the cemetery trustees can't write a check to somebody.
Yeah.
So,
And that's how it's done been done
yeah,
in the past.
that's how this.
So,
how the
I
town-
mean, I have all that old
Yeah.
paperwork if they need it. So, and then on the heels of that, because they have now only 2 lots and they had 4, they had a monument put on the 4 lots. They asked about moving the monument from the 4 lots to be centered on 2 lots. Unfortunately, they did that while Perry Memorial, who's doing our vaults now, was there. And he said, I can do that. So I hooked them up. They're working together. I drafted a document. It's basically a repair, removal of foundation or monument based on documents we already had. I have sent it out to the monument company. They filled in their part. I just wanted to run it by you guys just to make sure everything's fine. If you want to review that as well, let me know. Then I can send it off to them. They won't be doing any work till spring. And the monument companies, I've already talked to them a bunch of times and they're like, we'll just wait for you to tell us when. And I've talked to the guy that runs it, and he's gonna come out while I'm there. We'll work on it together to get it done.
Thank
And
you
who
for
will be
doing that.
responsible to pay for that?
That is on the lot owner because it is their monument. It's got nothing to do with us. I'm just supervising, make sure it goes okay.
Okay, but as it is now, it's partly on,
It's all on their lots,
on those
but
two
there's,
lots?
it's on 4 lots. They're selling 2.
Yeah,
So right now, it would be on part of one that's being sold back. They're just gonna shift it so it's completely on their existing
okay.
2
But as
lots.
of now, part of it is on the town, I mean, on
Empty lot,
the empty lot,
Yep.
which now belongs to the town
right.
when this paperwork is done.
Yep, and they, it's all understood. It's all fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Joyce, because again, these are the interesting things that the superintendent has to deal with as part of your roles and responsibilities. But like, and again, I'm glad you had an example to kind of copy from
Yeah.
too, because the language is definitely legal jargon.
Yeah.
that I don't think any of us on, any of the trustees would have known how to write that properly, so.
And whoever's kept the files kept a lot of that old historical stuff. So I've been going through and trying to clean up the files, but keeping copies of old things. And luckily, we kept a copy of the old buyback from, it was Walter Finch. I just cut and pasted, filled in blanks and changed dates and made adjustments. And I'm like, hey, if it works. And I've already sent, not this, but the last buyback to the Registry of Deeds. And she's like, no, that's perfect. So they accepted it.
So then on your records, like,
That's a miracle.
look, it gets like a, now they show as open. those
Right, I
two
will
lots.
go through
Once-
on this.
Once it goes through,
Yep.
yep.
Yep, on
As
major
available, as
maps.
available for somebody to
Yep.
purchase.
Very good.
Okay, so we don't have to sign these, no, this isn't ours to sign.
Nope.
This is for the owner. Yeah, I saw it. This is.
I pretty much told her I wanted you guys to lay eyes on it. So if anything it does come up, at least you can say you've seen it. Maybe.
So another Jean here.
What was that? Oh, another
Oh,
Jean.
her, yeah, her
Okay.
name's throughout here.
So while they're doing that, they'll probably inscribe his death date on one.
And that's already a permit that's been taken care of. We did that at the funeral.
Okay,
They had all that paperwork. I had the paperwork so they could do it.
as expected.
Okay, so that's the buyback and the movement of the monument. Next is, obviously I saw the gates are closed.
Mhm. Because Skip mentioned it, the one was leaning. I did move some of the bolts and nuts around on the gate. And while I was doing that, I noticed that the post itself is, got a little wiggle going on. So I've talked to somebody who does post work and he said, just prop it for the winter. We'll come see it in the spring. What we might do is just dig out a little bit. We'll throw some cement below ground level, pack it in, water it. It'll be fine. So that's a spring project to fix.
I saw that's the blocks under it, just to, yeah.
That's why,
I
in
saw the
case-
blocks there. I figured that's what happened.
Anybody asks, that's why.
Yeah. I'm just saying that straighten the posts in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any funerals?
I have none as of now. The 2 that were in December went off smashingly well. No problems. Everybody was happy. Everybody was thrilled. I will report that we had a total of 10 funerals this year, 4 caskets and 6 urns. And we had 3 new military flags added with monuments.
Under old business, on Poor Farm, the marker.
Ooh, we forgot town report.
Yeah, we could just do that at the bottom if you
Okay.
want, I guess. Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't
That's
care.
okay. No, we'll skip it.
No, we'll do it right now, because Skip had already kind of mentioned it.
So that bill has been paid for the marker?
Yes.
Yep, I have supporting document for that.
Thank you, Jillian. No, because I was bugging her about it. I really felt like I didn't want to, they did a really good job, and it would be embarrassing if it got hung up because us trying to do paperwork in town, you know what I mean? And she
So
got
did
it
the
done,
town
so.
pay for it and got reimbursed? You don't know? It's okay, because I have this from trustees of trust saying that they paid for it. I think so. Yeah, because it was an ACH from Three Bearing to the town for the Poor Farm plaque.
I said, good job. Then you started questioning it.
Yeah, we did it. It's just
Next item is the annual, the trustees report for the town annual report.
So paragraph 5, there's a quotation at the end. That needs to go away after generous donation.
That was my only thing I had.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
Thank you.
That needs to go away.
On behalf of the election?
Nope.
Oh,
After the explanation.
Yeah,
There's no opening. I'll have to close it. Because somebody didn't pay
yeah,
attention.
not sure how that got in. That's, yeah, thanks.
Copy paste.
And Skip, you had found something, I think, you said you had already, well, I'll let you give us all your updates.
oh, I don't remember what I wrote. I didn't write it down. To bring,
Oh, the one thing also is at the bottom, I was able to fit our names there. So it'll say Brentwood Cemetery Trustees, Albert Skip Belanger, Jillian Benedict's, Jim Hazer, and Caleb Labbe, alternate. So that our names will be on that same line.
okay.
It fit on one page, which, we really can only have one page in the town report. And thanks, Joyce, because I think you captured we did have some really amazing things this year that we kind of got done, so.
Caleb, can you look up how to spell interments? Because we have INTER, but you were saying it's INTUR?
What, interment?
Is that what you told me?
Yeah,
ER. That's correct. Okay.
yeah, and,
I didn't want to argue with the English teacher.
Yeah, INTE, there's definitely one R. I looked it up, interment.
by the way, who's up for election this?
Yeah.
Well, was there any other change? I just want to make sure we finish this before we go on, right? Because I know Joyce and I are okay with this because she kind of wrote it, but Skip, I mean, is there anything else you saw in there that either a typo or anything that doesn't? Because again, we want to be, as usual, the first department to submit. I'm sure we'll be the first organization to
I do.
submit.
So under 2025, the earn interment should be 6.
I have 6.
Oh, you know what? I have the old one. Never mind.
That's okay.
What total interment? should
No,
be?
never mind. I made a goober because I'm
No,
looking at the wrong
there,
thing.
yeah, there were 6
Never
urn,
mind.
4 caskets,
Yep.
total of 10.
I have an old version. Being quiet.
And that was my fault, not Joyce.
That's okay.
I think we should just do a same thing, just to be official, to have a motion and a second to accept the submission for the town report as written by the superintendent.
With the one X, the one.
With that one change to take out the quote, yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Motion, Jillian. Second from
Motion,
Skip.
moved.
Accept with removal of information. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? No, good. So Joyce, I'll just get you the PDF and the Word document, and then you can submit that to the town administrator. Now we go to Poor Farm. Marker? Is there anything on the marker? I know it's on the agenda, but I didn't
No,
have
it's
it.
just to
I
say
didn't
that it was
have
paid
anything.
for.
The mark, is there anything on the marker?
Was
Is
that?
what you just asked?
Oh, any update
Oh,
on the
update,
marker? It was on,
yeah.
but I think what she said is she just was verifying that it did, the invoice did get paid, so. No, I didn't mean something was on it. That would be that. Paid invoice to company. Okay. Survey, okay. In your packet, Joyce had initiated the discussions with Ryan at Lavelle in Hampstead, and then I spoke to him, and he went out and did the survey, and he put in, first of all, he made sure that we did not cross over into the adjacent property line, which is kind of what we had been told by the state, as well as we didn't want to, anyways, so he made sure that he straightened it up along that border, and then he kind of made it as kind of a, not a square or trapezoid, but he kind of squared it up. Because,
Oh,
yeah, exactly, parallelogram, that's the right word, yep. Again, he marked all four corners and put markers in the ground. You can see on here, he actually has the coordinates and the marker of, he found the marker that we put of where the remains actually were buried. Remember, you put the marker there, and that's what's, if you look, see where it says remain
Yep.
but that's the actual marker. That's where the actual marker is.
So he's kind of pushed it that way a
Yeah,
little bit, kind of
yeah.
like where the burial
Yep.
mound was, I guess, at one point. Cool.
And then, so
Would you be used for a marker where the insured remains are?
it's like it's a plate
pin?
that
Don't we
Joyce,
have the B?
yeah,
the
exactly,
burial?
the
We have a
B,
B.
yeah.
It's a round plate that has a B
Or
on it,
plate.
and it's got a long spike. So it's this, I use them in the cemetery before, if somebody has a casket burial, before they get their monument, I put it in, and it signifies that there's a burial there, but there's no headstone. And so like when I do my cremations, they're square and they say CR. So when I do a cremation burial anywhere on your lot, that cremation plate with a spike is put exactly where your urn is. So we know exactly where it is.
Now, that's gonna get, we're gonna be taking care of that, I assume,
Yep.
once in a while. Is there any danger of that just being covered over with not trees, but with leaves, et cetera, so it would not be visible if it's flush with the ground? Does it need to be something higher than the ground level?
That would be up to us. I do know that one of my grave diggers suggested that I go out and get some stainless steel washers and just stack them up underneath on the spike underneath the plate and then put it right back in. He said then that way if you need to find it, you take a metal detector and it'll beep, 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 or a magnet and it'll suck it right up.
Yeah, again, I'm not, again, it would be up to us what we want to do there, as it's a town. I don't see the real need of marking the exact, like putting some sort of this is my opinion, on where the actual location is. I think it was more in case at some point we ever had to access, we could, using either a rod or, I like that idea.
Yeah.
If we put some metal washers under it, we could do that in the spring. Then you can use a metal detector to actually find the exact spot in case we had to, do something there. But I don't think it ever was, I don't believe that is there to show exactly to a casual user or whatever. I mean, that's what the plaque is for, right? We have that
Yeah.
plaque, and
Yeah.
where that actual box went into the ground, I don't think that, again, this
think
is
it
my
matters.
opinion. And we could talk about this later if somebody wanted to do something
I
else
think
there.
it might actually have a piece of granite, like a, not a slant stone, but what do you call that?
Like a flat
Oh.
marker?
Yeah,
We could do, yeah, well, you know what, in the spring, maybe we could
Yeah.
talk about doing that.
when we do the spring
Right,
cleanup,
the spring cleanup, sure. Yeah.
so it's visible.
Yeah, because I think the other thing we'll have to talk about is once we get this done, maybe putting some sort of a delineation fencing or something like that where, low chain fence or something like that in the four corners and,
Yeah.
just so that it's not going to get over time just overgrown by the forest and stuff like that. Even with us cleaning
Yeah.
it, it'd be nice to have a physical boundary. So, and again, that's something we can do in the spring and talk about what we want to do there.
Good, yeah.
The important thing is that, they were really good. He got the plot done. It got submitted to planning for their approval. And this is where I just talked to Glenn yesterday. As usual, right? This is not a typical situation for anybody, right?
Yep.
Because there's no deed right now that shows cemetery there. Nothing, right? So planning said they definitely have processes and things where they're taking a deeded piece of property and it goes from the owner to the town, right? And I suspect when I got the ruling from NHMA and they say, yeah, that cemetery, once you declare it abandoned, it becomes the property of the town. And that is true, that's the law. But I would think that in every other case, probably that has ever happened on this abandoned process, it was because there was a cemetery that was there, and probably identified in some records, that was not being maintained, or a family said, we're not going to maintain this. Anyways, the town takes possession and
real
declares it abandoned. But the cemetery was
Existing.
actually existed. In this case, the cemetery existed physically, but it was never recorded anywhere officially, right? We never could find a deed. We never could find. So there's a little bit of confusion so Glenn is going to give me a little write-up. He said, and I apologize, he spoke to me yesterday when I was driving in my truck, so I couldn't take notes. And I asked him, I said, could you please send me an email with what you just said? Because these are really good ideas, and I want to make sure that we do this right. We all want to get this done, but we, the cemetery trustees, don't know anything about surveying or deeds or anything, right? You guys know deeds, but you're saying this is a weird case. Basically, what we're going to have to do is we'll go to the attorney, and the attorney will help us determine how the town claims that property, this small square, right? And then once we claim that property per the abandoned cemetery process, then the attorney can get the deed written for this lot, this to exist as a cemetery that is owned by the town. And then they will update, then he said the planning board can then work on, and they will update the other property to show that it's not an easement, it's an actual town property. But again, I'll work with Glenn, the town planner. He'll give me kind of like the suggestions in writing. And then he suggested that I go with the select board chair and the town administrator. We'll just talk to the town attorney to make sure we do this correctly, because the planning board they said, we can't really do this. This isn't something that we can do because it's not our property right now.
Right.
So it's just another, all of us have been, this whole process has been a pretty long journey, and a lot of it is taking a long time because it's such a unique situation and circumstance, right? Like, so it doesn't surprise me that you get, but we took a major step here. We have the actual cemetery, and we can get, and with these coordinates, we can get it on the GIS, no problem. So that's good. The Mylar, these guys have a copy of I think you call it a Mylar, the big, right? They have that. It's just, I need to go to the town attorney to get the deed work done so that it will be town-owned and the other deed will be updated to show that that little corner is a cemetery.
Is this map registered in the
Not,
deeds?
not yet.
But it will be.
It will be. That's the goal, yes.
Yeah.
But see, this is where we kind of
Right.
got stopped now. And I'm telling, I just talked to him yesterday.
Has this been mentioned yet to the Sanborns, though?
No.
Okay, do you want me?
Well, the Sanborns know that this happened because when he went out there to do it, he just went out there, never told. I thought he was going to call one of us, but he told me, he goes, "Oh no, the person saw me and they said, 'Oh, are you out here to do some work on the cemetery?' Oh yeah, okay." He said they were totally fine, and I said, "Oh, that's good because we haven't had any problems at all, and they've been really supportive." So no, yeah, he told me that, yeah, no problem.
Okay.
They were fine. So,
Good.
and I think he's all done out there. So the work is actually done. And again, in the spring, if there's something that you or want to do in terms of actually putting the corner something different, I know you've done this before. You and I can do that if you want to replace what he put out there with something different. Either I know you've done stone ones or something, right? I don't, whatever you want to do in the corners, but they are actually marked now, and we have this done. So once we get the lawyer to do the actual deed work, then planning can get this all finished up. And it's just something that Glenn will help, the town planner will help me get the right stuff to the attorney so that we can get that work done. But he said it is going to have to go to the town attorney.
Can I be involved in that if I'm around?
Of course.
Thank you.
And the deed would have to be amended and registered.
Yes, yeah, yes.
I mean, the
Yes.
Sanborn deed,
Both.
yeah,
Both.
and it'd be on the tax.
The Sanborn deed would be updated. There'd be an update, which they can do. That's the planning folks know how to do that. It's the creating a new deed for, and I was driving. I couldn't make notes, and I think he said if the lawyer calls it, there's some process that then planning can now go forward and create a new deed. Like he said, if there's a subdivision going in somewhere, they create a new deed. They know how to create new deeds. What they don't know how to do is create a new deed for something like this situation. So we just need the lawyer. And he said that the lawyers can do deeds. So he goes, that's what we need. But yes, the end product would be, there'll be a deed registered for this little, whatever, how many acres it is, 0.084. It's really small. But
That would be the same process as the South Road property.
well, that's a little different, right? Because the South Road property, there are existing deeds already. So what that becomes is just the owner the owner goes from being a private resident, right, Stevens, and the owner will be Town of Brentwood. But there's no, right, like the lots, everything are all defined and their deeds all exist. We're not really changing any of that. So that process is all happening. That's all being done as basically and again, planning told me, yeah, we know how to do those. If somebody, like in this case, they said, well, are we putting an easement? I go, no, this is not an easement. This is not an easement. We declared a cemetery abandoned. It's not an easement. Okay. Is he donating this land to the town? I go, well, no, it's not. There's nothing. There's no land. There's no right now because he's not donating a lot. This little square, and that's the problem. Right? This little square has to be created. And once it's created, the town of Brentwood owns it because of the abandonment process. And really, it gets back to that. We know there was a cemetery there because he physically disturbed it by accident. It's just that it was never properly recorded by anybody in the past. So that's what we have to do is get this little cemetery recorded properly. and I'm probably confusing you more, but I'm just telling you what they kind of told me, because I'm no expert in this either. I really am not.
I have a question. How did they, so they found one
No. Yes.
only one I've
No, 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 no. Remember, we put them all together when we
seen. Oh, right.
when we put them in.
Yep.
No, that's a really good question.
There's still a couple of teeth somewhere, right?
They are with DNA Doe.
One of them was destroyed in checking the DNA. They found three teeth, I believe.
I'm not sure if, I think they all went to DNA Doe. I think everything's with DNA Doe at this point. I don't think UNH is holding anything, because their mission is to not hold things. It's either send it off to labs to have it analyzed, so UNH doesn't hold it, or they would have put it back in the box. I do believe it's all with DNA Doe at this point. I haven't heard from them. I think they were doing batch studies and they had to just wait for the batches to come through, but they have been doing, DNA Doe has been doing a lot of success rates lately. So whatever testing and whatever funding they've got collaborating, I've seen, they keep me posted.
No, they're still processing it.
They are processing all the time, all the time. And if it doesn't work with this, they will find there's new companies and there's new processes coming online all the time. Their success rate over the last like month and a half, like every week I'm getting somebody found, somebody found, somebody found. So they're constantly updating all the time. Yeah, they're very hard at work.
So that issue is not closed yet.
I don't think it's ever going to make a difference. I think, you know,
Won't
if
make
we
a
have,
difference, you know, to say, this is them, but what we intended to do is to try to identify them, and we haven't been able to, so we're not gonna continue.
right,
To be some kind of an ending to that.
right. So, yeah,
So just again, on this, the survey is complete. Okay, so like as far as survey, we can check off that box. And where we're at now is deed. There's deed work that needs to be done to get the deed created and registered properly. And Joyce and I will work with the attorney once I get the suggestions from the town planner.
who will pay for amending the Sanborn's deed? Legal question? Okay, got it.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's,
that we'll have to see. I don't know how much these things cost. And we have to ask the attorney how that works.
yep. So it does bring out, though, an example of why sometimes people ask, well, can I be buried at home? Of course you can, but it also, we can use the poor farm as an example of why burials, no matter where you put them, shall be registered with the town, and this is why. So, I mean, I think we're setting a good precedence for the state as to why this has to be done. Sorry, get off my.
No, that's okay.
There's no penalty for that, is there, if you don't register it?
I don't see anything within the law that says, but I think that it just, I think as a human being, and if you are operating a cemetery, that it is your responsibility to know what burials are happening, and they shall be registered with the state and at least with the town.
But don't you need, you can't just, and I don't even know, I'm asking. You can't just put somebody in the ground in your yard, can you? You don't need any permission. You don't need any, there's nothing, you could just do it.
If you bury them, though, you have to let the town know, or you have to let the
Do
state.
you? No, I'm just saying, what are did the current laws say that you must notify somebody, the town?
You shall
You shall
register your
register?
burial
Oh,
with the
okay,
town.
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But I don't think it says specifically where on your property it's buried, I think. I don't remember what the law is, but I don't think it says they have to be surveyed so that the exact location of the remains are.
I don't think so, but there are setback rules,
Yeah,
you know, like water tables and buildings and.
But he's right, because then, I buy this property and they don't tell me exactly where it is, and I put in a pool, I'm probably gonna find it.
You know, you
Or-
may dig it up.
Right,
That's,
right.
somebody must have thought about that.
But so like with our burials, when people register burials with me, it's my green card, and I do have on my green card, I need to know where, and mine, because that's who I am, I'm OCD about it. I want to know it's Tonry. I want to know what section. I want to know how deep. I want to know if it's a casket. And even like with the Glen, because they bury at the church here on Middle Road, they've gotten really good about like, this is exactly where it is. I don't think I have any home burials right now. I have a few people that I want to touch base with just to find out. But I think it would be prudent if you are registering with a town that you should be saying, hey, you know what, there is in the back corner on the left, there is a burial, you know. I
Yeah, we
think
don't have the
that's-
same situation.
Yeah.
It is somehow.
I think it's maybe something that the towns need to be aware of. That's kind of what I'm thinking from the New Hampshire graveyard standpoint. I might bring that up at some point and say, this is why.
Hmm.
you know,
And then,
question.
this is just my suggestion, if it's like the laws are not specific enough or need to be updated, I think it would be something that maybe we could talk to our state reps about, like, hey, look, this is the current law, but we think that it should be updated. Because again, what I fear is I don't think this town of Brentwood should take on trying to improve, like, fix this, the lack of specificity or whatever, the lack of details in the state law, right? There's currently a law that says you must notify the town, but I think what you're saying is, well, but it doesn't say exactly where or something.
Yeah.
We should look at,
Clarify it.
we could maybe come up with some suggestions to get it to our state rep, and, because they're the ones who can update the law, because it should be this is not a Brentwood issue, this would be every
A
town.
town issue. And I know that there's certain representatives and senators and whatever are kind of geared to stuff. I do know the rep. I
Yeah,
think it's a
see, and that's what I
senator
was gonna
who,
say, like, anybody, 'cause
yeah,
you're on that board, I mean, it
he-
would be great if it came from them, because I think it even has more clout if it comes from, like, the Cemetery Society or
Yeah.
association, right?
I'll
Like,
definitely bring it up to him and let him know.
rather
Yeah.
than just us
In very
trying to-
least, we should probably think about putting it in our rules and regulations.
Yeah, but I don't, our rules and regulations aren't those specific towards our town cemeteries? How can, I mean, our regulations aren't gonna apply to somebody's, what they're doing in their backyard. Because
state
if
would
they're doing it in their
supersede town.
backyard, I think the law says they just have to tell the town. So
Yeah.
I go to the town, I say, yeah, I'm burying,
Bodies.
I won't
Yeah.
say it, but somebody in my
Exactly, yeah.
backyard.
Yeah.
But
They
I
don't.
think what you're saying is like, well, but they have no requirement to say where they're buried, or I don't even know how they're buried. I don't know what the law is.
Yeah,
I told you, mine's easy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be cremated, she's putting me in the fireworks tube, and phew,
yeah.
it's like,
That's why if we don't want to go through the legislature, then at least we should put it in our rules and regulations.
all I'm saying is that our rules and regulations are not gonna apply to somebody who's just doing something in their yard.
Well, it might.
Because
If there's a
we have,
line from, once you notify the town, this is our procedure. Somebody wants to take us to court, so you can't do that, that might be okay.
oh,
but
well,
It
yeah,
would be written down somewhere when they say, what do I have to do? Just say, Carl, I just buried my mother in the backyard. So, then since it's a town cemetery, it's not a town cemetery, but it is a cemetery, a burial ground. And it's not addressed anywhere else, except that the rules and regulations in Brentwood say, even you're permitted to bury in your backyard, but these are the rules and regulations.
Okay.
Even if it doesn't carry a death penalty, if you don't,
no, I
be in writing, that's all.
I would have to talk to either our town attorney or maybe the cemetery folks in New Hampshire to see, like, is this something that other towns have done? Are we allowed to do cemetery trustees have the authority to set like a town? Can the town regulate burials in people's yards? I really don't know. Like I said, if there's a state law, I don't know. I don't know if we can. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
They may be happy to do that.
I think the important thing would be let's look at the laws, let's figure out language that we would like to change, and then we can ask and say, does it make sense to try to get the law changed? Are we allowed to locally put in an ordinance that says it? I don't think it would be our rules and regulations. I think it would be some sort of a town ordinance or something like that, where we say, the current law is this, but in the town of Brentwood, our ordinance says you must follow the state law, but in addition, you must .
289 will say that you can be buried at home, register with the town, and then you'd have to go to your town again for zoning and talk to zoning. So I think it would be ordinance. Is that what you just found?
So you do have to comply with zoning, but you also have to get a burial permit with the state to bury it. And if you don't, it's a misdemeanor, which actually is pretty, not that bad actually. So,
What would I call this? This would be private burials or burials on private property?
private land.
Why don't we talk, like, in next meeting or something, we'll get the language and, you know, let's see what we can find out. Maybe Joyce, between you and I, will figure out what currently the law says and if it's, like, then we could talk, like I said, talk about language if we'd like to change it. And then what's the best way to get that done? Is it to try to get some groups to talk to reps to get the state law changed? Or can we update town ordinances or create town ordinances to kind of amend?
I know they're working a lot with the green burial situation right now. And it might be kind of wrapped up in that as well, because the green burial could lead to people wanting to be buried at home. So it's something that I can look into.
Good.
That was a new item. I don't even know how we got on this. Private land burials, okay. So the next item would be future planning and calendar, the wreaths across America. Joyce?
I haven't scheduled wreath pickup yet because I wanted to look at January's weather. Kind of dragging my feet, but I will post it and let everybody know once I pick a date.
By the way, on that, on the poor farm, I've contacted the archives, and I have made a good contact with somebody who's going through all of the archive records that have been identified in previous research. Somebody published a book with all the cemetery records and all. So anyway, I contacted her, and she's been very, very helpful, sending me photocopies of all of those documents related to the paupers in town. So she's in the process of sending me photocopies. There are dozens of references because the overseer of the poor had to submit a report every year about what they've done for the poor people. So during the years 1841 to 1869, is it, when the town owned that property as a poor farm, people were buried there, but there's no record of who was buried there. There's not even a record of how many people are in the town farm in any particular year. So the records might be in there somewhere. So this lady is going through all the records, including the ones that I found in that book. And she's sending me photocopies, so I'm making up a chart of the names of the people who were in the county farm during those years, or the town farm rather, during those years, and pouring through them and see who was buried there, who died there, and add that to our blue book there. Everybody who died at the poor farm weren't necessarily buried there. They might have been buried in their family plot somewhere, even in another town. So in our effort to get a handle on how many people might be in that graveyard and who they might be, this is moving along slowly, but it's moving along. So as I said, I just made this contact, and she already has sent me a pile of them. I'm pursuing that. So we'll have a chart of the likely people that are buried there.
Great. Yeah, I saw the email that you had sent them. You sent a copy to me. That's great.
She's sending me a couple every day, so.
Good.
And then on the envelope that didn't show up in that little book, on the envelope for document number 5653, I got the photocopy of that document. Now in that envelope, they're all put in an envelope. There's I think, 30 different documents in that envelope that don't appear, the names don't appear on that list that that person created for that little booklet. So there's a lot more information in there. Some of the stuff that you sent they did say so-and-so was buried, because the guy had to get paid for the burial. So the names of the people that were buried during that particular time are there. Whether they're buried there or not, they're likely, but no, we're never gonna know. for
Right.
sure the names.
But it does state that they died,
That
they were at the town farm,
They were at the town
they
farm.
died, and that they were buried.
have the guy get paid for burying. But it
Wow.
where he's buried, so.
Right.
It's likely that if he got paid for doing it, it was done there.
There, yeah, right.
So we'll have a pretty good list eventually.
Thank you, Skip.
Getting close to getting kicked out of here.
I don't know.
On the next,
No, we don't have, no.
That's just-
Their meeting is until
oh, I thought you said 5.
7.
Oh,
7.
Okay,
No, we're on, no. Next on the agenda is the columbarium info.
I
And then
haven't done anything with that, but
It's
do
okay.
you want me to see if I can get some information for the February meeting?
Sure. Yeah, because we just brought that up last meeting anyway, so that's okay. We'll just talk about it next month. Any other business? Monument alternatives.
So I talked to Brett Elmore, who does a lot of engraving for the monument companies in the area. And he said that he'd like to see the cobbles, because we thought about having the cobblestones on the walkways as putting names and dates on them. So instead of having like a major monument for people who don't want to buy a lot, they just want to be memorialized in the town, they could get a cobblestone with their name and the dates on it. He wants to see them first to make sure that they could be actually used. He has 2 thoughts. He said if we had a couple spares, pop a couple out, just for him to have, people could contact him, he would engrave them, probably charge them about $100. If he had to come to the cemetery and do the engraving on site, it would be about $175, but he would like to see them before he gets started. So it's a thought. What I can do is reach out to other monument companies and see if they have engravers and see what they think. Probably will have to sit until spring so they can come out and see what we have.
you might check with the Historical Society, because we had a patio installed on the property. People donated X number of dollars, and they had their name engraved on
On a brick.
a stone,
Okay.
so they might have a contact. I think that was a project of a 4-H
Was it?
fella.
Okay.
Took that on as a
Just want to make sure it was 100 to engrave roughly, and then 170 on site? I didn't,
175 if he
175
comes to on-site.
on site. And again, we would go out and probably have to define, okay, here's the area that we want to put the stones, whether it's round, square, rectangular, whatever, right? Do you already know exactly?
So right now, all the walkways are lined with cobblestones. Just use those along the
Okay,
walkways.
So the existing,
So all the people would really be paying for, I don't want any gain out of it, would be paying him privately to put, and we would just have to come up with some
Right.
sort of document,
right,
an engraving or whatever
Right.
on it, so we have a
Right.
record of it, so that the record is there, but it's also with us.
okay, so yeah, use the existing, I was thinking. Great.
Let's say someone wants to do that, right? It would only be paying the vendor, nothing would go to the
Oh, and we already own the cobbles are already there. We might have to purchase a few just to be, so we'd have the rolling, like pop one out, give it to him, okay, if you have someone, we might be able to squeak one out somewhere.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're whoever does that, whoever's gonna pop it out and pop it in.
5 minutes.
Is that something yeah, I mean,
It'd be part of the rules and
we're,
responsibilities.
and since
Yeah.
I've been involved with the trustees, it's never been about making money for the town or whatever. So like something like this,
Yeah.
I would, You know what I mean? Like, that's why the prices on the lots even are really, if you look at some other towns, we're a lot lower. We're a lot lower, but it's always been that way, and I kind of agree with that. That's kind of I've been told since I've been here. So like in something like this, I can't see the town. I would think we would just have them pay the person. We don't have to get involved with it. We just authorize, like anything
Yep.
else. Superintendent authorizes it and
Does the
lets it
permitting and
happen.
off it goes.
But then they just pay this person. In fact, we could have like little forms how to do it, and then we introduce them to the person who does the work, and he does the work in coordination with the superintendent.
Is he local? Is he nearby?
Yeah, yep. And I
Oh,
think
that's great.
just because somebody will say, well, like, can you get 3 bids? I think I would look at other people who are engravers and ask them, can you give me a price for this? And then I won't discuss price, but if somebody says, I would love to just do a name and date on a cobble, do you have a source? Of course I do. Here's 3 or 4 names, up to you. Just know that whatever work is done, there's paperwork with that. You have to touch base with me, fill it in, fill it out, have your engraver fill it in, boom. Just to make it easier. Yeah, thank you. Because we thought about like general monument, but that's kind of like an expense that we don't need. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I did have one other thing, and I didn't know if you have a follow-up on it. Somebody on South Road near the Gordon Rock Cemetery, which is across the street from the Quaker Cemetery, which is near Meadowsmith. I guess one of the neighbors said something about worrying about the trees in our cemetery, or not our cemetery, but in the private cemetery. If they fall, they could possibly land on their house. I've done a ton of research on it. That is not our cemetery. Who does it belong to, Skip? The descendants of the people who live there. I've had the discussion with Jillian and Julie that it's not our trees, it's the people that live there or who were buried there. First step would be maybe try to contact those people.
And do you know who the people are, the
We have a
descendants?
list.
So the town, because it's a cemetery within the town, we know who it is?
We have record of who's in that cemetery. So it would be just contacting, trying to find those descendants. Give yourself a public notice, give it a timeline, nobody comes forward. I think then it becomes a discussion for select board. How do they want to look at it? I do know some towns that have private cemeteries, they set aside money for trees in the cemeteries. And if somebody gets worried that this tree is making them nervous, fine, we have funds set aside, we'll take your trees down. It's not anything for us per se to worry about, except that it's good that we're aware of it. So if someone comes to you and says, hey, that tree, especially because they're listening, in that cemetery is bothering me, I'm sorry, that's a private cemetery.
Right.
We go to the town, we'll work with you. There is a process to go through it. And I think Julie said that she was going to talk to Primax, because basically it's looking at the cemetery as your neighbor has a tree. What happens if your neighbor's tree falls on your land? Who's liable and who's responsible? Well, it's not a town cemetery.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say, usually it's the owner, whoever, if my tree falls on Skip's house,
Right.
I'm responsible for the damage that my tree did. If he cuts down my tree, then he can be responsible for damaging my tree if he didn't have, this is like, that's how the law is written.
Right.
And so I would assume that if the law says that the owner of that cemetery is the descendants of the cemetery, like you said, number one, has nothing to do with the town of Brentwood or us, right? It's that homeowner has to now, through their insurance, try to figure out how to get money from the owner of that cemetery. That's why, like, I'm just saying, like,
I had occasion to,
I don't know. And like I said, if there is no owner, but see, this gets back to like, then how does like the whole abandoned cemetery process, right? Like if there is no living descendant of that cemetery. But again, we kind of mentioned this just in going, I would be leery of just immediately telling the town, oh, we should just take ownership of the cemetery. Why? Because there's liabilities involved with like just what you're
Trees.
talking about, because suddenly we have to maintain and then we have to be responsible for, and why do you want to do that when we have 30, how many? Anyways, And I think that's the cemetery, if I'm not mistaken, had the damage to the wall, right?
And I think somebody's been working on cleaning it out,
Really?
and
No, I mean, no, fixing the wall,
I
remember?
don't know if the wall's been fixed.
No.
And I don't think, I never heard any update on what happened with the person that did it, so I think it just.
Well, it wouldn't be, again, it's not a cemetery trustee issue
Right.
because we have nothing to do with it. And I almost would, and I'm not a lawyer, right? I'm an engineer, but I would almost caution, like, we don't want to try to get involved with getting that wall fixed or telling this homeowner, because we don't want to make it so that the town is somehow, somebody says, well, the town's been doing this or
Right.
something, or acted in some way that we become responsible.
Establish a precedent.
There you go. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Lawyer. Yeah, right.
But
So-
it's nice that they do come to us.
Of course.
Issue comes up and we
Of
can kind
course.
of guide them.
No,
in
the
right way
great
to
thing is that
go.
you give them the guidance,
Yeah,
right?
but I agree, I don't want to set a precedent. I mean, they being the legal end, how much would it be to fix this wall? I don't know whatever came of that, if they ever had
Right.
to
No.
do
And like,
any.
we're not allowed to go in there and do things either, right? I mean,
We can,
We have the
because we talked to the cemetery trustees, hey, can we go in there and do some cleaning? We can, great, awesome. But we posted every spring that we do work in all, and I list all the cemeteries that we probably would be going in, and that will probably go in the newsletter. It's a public notice going, hey, we're gonna work in these cemeteries to do blah, blah, blah. If anybody has a problem, they need to come forward. We usually give them till May, and they usually don't. But
so it's like a public notice that we're gonna do work in the cemeteries, and that if the actual owner of the cemetery says, "No, I don't want you in there," they have to notify, okay.
yep, in other words, it's written by I've done it off the laws that
Okay.
I've seen and how other.
Which again
towns
is
have
take
done
into
it.
account that we're going onto somebody else's
Yeah.
property to do some things.
Yep,
But,
with regard to that person's question about the tree fall from the cemetery falling on his house.
mm,
I had occasion to look into this some time ago, and I don't know exactly what the law was, but the procedure is, or the limitations are, if it overhangs your property, you can cut that limb off,
yep,
but you can't go into the other property.
right,
So if he's worried about that falling on his house, I guess if he's really worried, he can cut all the limbs that are on his property, which still might not prevent it from happening, but there is some legal stuff that goes with that.
you haven't heard anything, have you, back from Primex?
But we have done work on private cemeteries, which is different from an abandoned cemetery,
Right,
even if it has not been
But-
abandoned.
but we posted that we would be doing that
Yeah.
work,
right.
and we did end up paying for it, because we may use our capital reserve fund to pay for that. So it's, it's a catch-22. I think waiting to hear what Julie hears from Primex and legal as to where we stand on that. I just want you guys to be aware of it in case it comes
No,
up,
great, thank you.
unless Caleb found something.
There's no public comment because we don't have any public here this evening. Any other business from anybody?
I just have a couple of things.
Sure.
Do we have any inclination to do something for this semi-bicentennial celebration? Other organizations
Maybe.
in town. I didn't get to that meeting on January 6th, where people got together to discuss what they want to do to celebrate the 250th anniversary. Do we want to do anything?
I do know with the library, they've asked me about that, and I told them that I would like to do a gallery of cemetery pictures, possibly of the Rev War people we have, and possibly just all veterans. Just to go out and, not only myself, but if anybody wants to go out and shoot pictures of cemetery stones and monuments with flags and stuff. They were all for that, maybe doing the gallery at the library, doing it here, and even doing it at the historical, but I haven't heard anything.
We might work in tandem with the Historical Society.
I was just gonna say, the Historic Society is putting together a whole, and I know someone who's on the Historic Society planning committee, And there's a whole list of things that they're planning on doing for this. And it includes the cemetery is on the list.
Okay.
And so they will definitely be contacting you, Joyce, to coordinate through the Historic Society of Brentwood, all of the activities kind of coordinating in Brentwood of what would.
Sooner than later, because I'm thinking Memorial Day would be a great one.
Yeah.
I know who it is, I can reach out.
Shoot, Laura was working on it this morning. I saw her, so, and I did see that cemetery was on there.
Okay.
So, and she spoke to Janice. So, anyways, yeah.
Yeah. I would say if we have.
There's a whole
any
bunch of
ideas-
there's a whole bunch of people do. Yeah, there's, like I said, coordinating the whole thing. And I mean, whatever. I think the Historic Society is work. Yeah.
I think we're gonna do something from the Historical Society. I know we're gonna do something. But I was thinking to working in tandem with the Historical Society to update the Blue Book Register.
Mm,
I've been adding, every couple of years, I've been adding information, the deaths in Brentwood to the original.
Where are you storing the copies of that? So I'm just asking is that you should not be the only one that has it. I have an old copy of it, but I don't have an update.
That's right.
Do you store a copy with you and historical?
As of now, I have a disk with the updated entries. And my plan was maybe bring that up, because I'm a couple of years behind on it, bring that up to date and present that to the town as a participation in the 205th anniversary and update of all the burials, deaths and burials in Brentwood since God created the town. So that was my thought, that we could participate. If anybody says, what are the cemetery trustees going to do? That would be one thing that we could say that we're doing. We're updating that rule books, which is as complete as possible registry of anybody who died in Brentwood and or was buried in Brentwood.
Can you get us copies, even not here, but even just to the historical? Just, I think when computers crash, a lot of things go away. And I'd hate to see that happen.
Oh, it will happen because I'm doing it.
But I mean, I just hate to see the records get lost. If we have second and third copies, like even emailing Caleb or emailing Laura or emailing someone at the historical with that, so that they have the same thing you have. Maybe each time you do an update, if you can send it out,
So
if that's possible.
well, I have it in my computer, so I can give it to anybody who wants it anytime they want. And
Definitely.
then it would be updated, be identified as of a certain date, because we have to add the people that died. I'll have the people who died up until 2025.
Okay. That'd be perfect.
Soon, I'll have that done soon.
Okay.
As soon as I get this other pauper stuff done.
Okay.
So the answer to your simple question is anybody who wants it can have a copy.
Okay.
For our bicentennial celebration, we'll have a little, whatever it is, ceremony, maybe have produce a little booklet. I don't know if each of the organizations in town will publish something or not, but that will be our contribution if you want.
Yeah.
To have an updated burial list.
Yeah, I think that should be our contribution. That would be great. And like I said, I think and you have both hats. You're on Historic Society and you're a cemetery trustee, and Laura will be contacting Joyce and Laura's Historic Society. So this is awesome. I think we'll be covered. And it sounds like I said, they were already going to be coming to ask. The Historic Society was going to ask, the cemetery was going to ask Joyce about this. So you bringing it up tonight is really, I can tell you, this was this morning. She did this, so it's kind of funny. I know.
Okay, that's all I had to do. That wondering if anybody else had any ideas about what the cemetery people should do or interested in doing.
Would the DAR usually doing like a speech or like a story at the cemetery that we cleaned up earlier last year?
I have yet to get any information from them because I know they did the survey. So I will reach out to the DAR
And I
ask
know
them to share it.
DAR was listed
Yeah.
on, because for the Historic Society, Laura had all of the, and it was a lot of groups and people.
Yeah.
And DIR obviously is one of them, and like, yeah, so
Maybe we can do,
and I know they're trying to, I know a lot, the DIR, Laura's working on trying to identify all of the veterans of the Revolutionary War who are buried in
Brentwood.
Brentwood.
yeah.
And it's kind of as Skip was mentioning earlier, the records, like, it's complicated. It's like some of them say they're there and they're not, or they weren't, or you go and it's marked, that they have the marker thing there, but then that name wasn't on the list that she originally had. So there's this whole she's working on this with the DAR to identify all of the Revolutionary War veterans who are buried in Brentwood, to make sure we have all of them documented.
I should coordinate with her then.
Yeah, I think, I thought, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we could do like a VZ or Tonry tour of the Rev War people that are, like, I'm sure VZ has them, but yeah, maybe we can do another clean day, get some more people there.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
If once it warms up, we'll do another cleaning day and then
Okay.
have that all before, like a walk around, like a story time.
Yeah. Yep. Narrative.
Skip could dress up.
We just said, yeah, we had talked about like having the QR code and have a hologram of Skip dressed up, like doing like a little talk at each one of these.
For the 225th anniversary, the Historical Society had a bunch of things going, but I was dressed up as an Indian.
Oh, really?
That's funny.
Anyway, so, anyway, but if some other ideas come up, we can bring them up.
Okay.
Good, we have a little leeway time here.
Any other items? If
Oh,
not,
I came across a map recently and I couldn't figure out where I got the map, but it was a map similar to that map that you just had out there of the, that one there, where it shows Deer Hill, I think it was a deed map, shows the cemetery on Deer Hill where those gravestones are. Somebody had, I was gonna photocopy it, bring it, and I didn't. Has it where, and it's listed, it says it's similar to this thing. And maybe it was a deed plan for the Deer Hill Road area. It shows that property, and it says on it, gravestones, and there's a bunch of little lines.
Are you thinking the one that's,
That's Lawrence Lightfoot's old property.
Alina Ward lives there now? It's, as you're driving up to Sanborn's, it's the house on the right, kind of
Yeah.
before that. I've talked to them and they're all on board. They would actually, I was gonna bring it up more closer to the spring, they would actually love to invite us to come and do a survey day and start, because she said every time they go to try to plant something there, thunk, it's a headstone, leave it alone. Thunk, there's a headstone, leave it alone. So she would actually love to have us come out as a group and kind of survey what's there, maybe try to establish the boundaries. She didn't want to do it last year because we were still with the poor farm. Let's do one at a time. But I know we've got a couple. South Road is one of them. And then the one on Deer Hill, that there's cemeteries that are there, but they're just not, like, we haven't visited them then. So maybe we can do a cemetery tour at some point.
Yeah, that'd be a nice little.
so this would be another private cemetery that isn't currently recorded in the book, right?
I think it is recorded.
Oh, it is recorded?
But there's
Is it-
no names associated, like
Okay.
it's mentioned, but it's known, but.
When I
it's
say the
not-
book, the history of Brentwood
Yeah,
book.
I think
Like
it's
it, so
recorded.
it's already there?
It's recorded but not inventoried.
Okay,
We've got a couple of those, the Beans
Recorded.
Children's Cemetery.
got it.
But that would be, if she's interested, willing to do that, that would be good. We could take a probe and see what we
Go
can
looking.
find out there.
Yeah,
I was thinking early on when we got involved in the pauper cemetery, the town farm cemetery, some of the deeds mentioned that the person was buried in Day Hill Road. And the context seemed to indicate that was a pauper farm. That's where they buried the paupers.
I don't know.
I forget now the context of that, but that's where before we discovered the one on the Sanborn property, we assumed that that might have been, I think the name associated was Nixon. I think it was the Nixon property. Like that name comes in my head. Anyway,
Okay. All right.
we're gonna kick that.
So, next meeting, I know we usually do the first Thursday of the month. Unfortunately, February 5th is the public budget hearing, and yeah, and
You're gonna be busy.
that night, that night I will be busy, so I won't be able to do cemetery meeting on the 5th. If you want to meet without me, or we could do the following week is the 12th.
I'm fine with whatever.
The only thing with the 12th is that there's a candidate forum at 6 o'clock at the rec. But if we hold our meeting at 4 o'clock again, because,
Which leads me to my next question. Jim?
let me finish, yeah. So is 4 PM okay?
4
on the
p.m. 's fine
12th?
with me.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I guess the
February
next,
12th.
February 12th, 4 PM.
Okay. Hold on just a second.
And, yeah, go ahead.
So Jim, you're up for reelection.
I am.
Are
You're the
you
one
putting your
on
name
it.
in?
Yeah, I know, it goes by
It was
fast.
very really fast.
Yeah, I plan on running
Okay.
unless
Well, you better.
somebody
You don't have
else
any choice.
really good comes forth saying they want to run. No, yeah, I don't plan on I'm gonna run again. Unless you want to run? No. Yeah, I'll stay on.
Do we want to try to solicit then for alternate?
Yeah, I think we could always,
Use
so
them all.
that's always open. I mean, we're fortunate we have Caleb and, it's open because,
Put it a little note.
and they only do it from July 1st to July 1st. That's how the cycle gets done with the select board. You are in, so, but again, July 1st, we'll just resubmit that to them. But yeah, I think we should be looking,
Maybe we should put a notice in the Brentwood newsletter.
maybe we can do that.
Still is-
Yeah, let's do that. Well, February 1 is coming
I was going to do
coming
that,
up,
actually.
so
That was a
we
question
can
I
definitely,
had.
yeah, let's
Yep.
do that.
Yep.
Because we could always use an alternate, and we ask all the time, if people want to start coming just to the meeting, they can come, start getting involved, and then we can submit them,
As
because,
an incentive, we could put down the bribes are encouraged.
there you go. All right,
So somebody gonna notify the Brentwood put it-
yeah, Joyce does that every month.
Motion to adjourn?
A motion and a second
Second.
to adjourn. Thank you. Oh, so we adjourned at 5:25.
Thank you.
Stop that. Off the air, good.
I think I